Okay, so it'll be running through this classroom, so you go through the Google Classroom. So you would want to check your Google Classroom at least twice a day. I'm going to ask you to check it once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and that's because, again, whatever communications that I have, whether it's posting homework, if there was change to something, or whatever, I will post it on Google Classroom. You can go ahead and read it. Okay. On Friday, I have office hours, so you guys are more than welcome to utilize that. That, for the time being, will more than likely be through Zoom. But the problem is that I only have like an hour and a half, and I'm going to allot everybody about a 10-minute slot so that we can talk about whatever we need to talk about. So you need to, or it would be advantageous for you to go ahead and schedule that early so that you can make sure that you do get a slot. Okay. In other words, Friday morning comes around, maybe I should ask this question to Mr. Ron, and you email me then, and then there's a good chance that I would not have a slot for you type of thing, okay? So the earlier you get in line and go ahead and reserve a spot, the better off you are, okay? Let's see. Okay, so each chapter that we do, I will cut the chapter in half, and we will have a quiz in the first half, and then we'll have a test on the second half. So the test will not be a cumulative thing. So on chapter one has section 1.1 all the way to 1.7, which means that I would probably cut it off at 1.4. So we'll do 1.1 to 1.4, have a quiz, and then we'll discuss 1.5 to 1.7, and we'll have a test. But that test will only cover 1.5 to 1.7. As far as weight-wise, that quiz and the test will have the same weight because they're actually the same thing. We're just calling one a quiz, we're calling the other a test, okay? But they will have the same weight as far as your grades are concerned, okay? So that's test that, and that's that. And then we have homework, and then every once in a while, I give you a pop quiz. Pop quiz can either happen before the class, or actually happen after the class. In other words, I can go ahead and give you a pop quiz after I've taught a lesson, just to make sure you guys understood a concept. And that quiz will cover only what we learned on that day, okay? But that quiz will not go in your quiz grade. It'll go into as a homework, okay? It's just a pop quiz. It'll be like 1 or 2 questions, nice, quick and easy type of thing. Okay, so we will do pop quizzes. So be aware of that. Do not be surprised when I give you a pop quiz. Okay. Let's see. What else do we need to do? What else do we need to talk about? Homework. Okay, homework. Your homework is the due date of the homework will always be notated on the homework assignment, okay? So if you look at the weekly outline for this time, it says homework 1 through 42 is due 9/17. So that means it's due on Thursday. So that first homework is going to be due on Thursday. If you look at the next one, it says homework 1.2 and 1.3, and they're both due on the 20th, which is a Sunday. So if it says it's due Sunday, that usually means it's Sunday midnight. And the 17th, if I say the 17th, it means the Sunday, the 17th means the time before our class starts on the 17th, okay? So, And each homework is basically one homework problem is 1 point, okay? So on the first one, we have 1 through 42. There are 42 questions, which means that there are 42 points, okay? Now, you're probably saying to yourself, wow, Mr. On, 42 questions on the first homework? Well, they're pretty simple questions, okay? So, but anyway, so this homework is going to be worth 42 points. Now, it says the due date is not as the 17th. If you turn it in on the 18th, you will not get full credit. You will get half credit, okay? So if you turn them in, you get them all right, out of the 42 points, you will get credit for 21 points instead of the 42 points. So it is very important that you turn your homework in on time, okay? Now, so you're late. After that, you're late. You're late until, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that I can turn in 1.1 2 months later? Well, the answer is no, okay? Once we take a quiz or a test that covers that section, that homework is closed. In other words, so you can turn in 1.1 late and get 21 points up to the day that we take the quiz from 1.1 to 1.4. But once we take the quiz from 1.1 to 1.4, you will get no points on that, or you will actually no points if you turn in the homework late. Because what's the point in turning in the homework when we already took the test or the quiz, whatever it may be? Okay? All right? So you have to keep track. You have to stay on track on this class. Okay? You have to stay on track. And the reason, part of the reason being is that it's because the real reason is because we're digital. Okay? It's because we're digital. My experience last spring was that if you start getting behind, it's harder to catch up when I do not see you physically day to day and hound you about the homework or whatever it may be, okay? So you need to stay on track. And part of my way to encourage that is this, okay? Is to make sure that you keep pace, at least with the homework. And your homework grade is a bit for me, because normally in my upper level classes, you only get 5% for your homework. In this class, I think I give you like 10 or 15%. So, okay, your homework does, it is quite a bit of your grade. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about the class itself, geometry. Geometry is it's a funny thing, and the reason I say it's funny is because this is the first time, although you've had a little bit of tastes of geometry, okay, the first time you're actually going to learn geometry in a structured way. Geometry is a little different than algebra, okay? For some people, you may be very good at algebra, right? In other words, solving equations, all this stuff or whatever, but sometimes you can struggle in geometry, okay? So just because you did well in math before, okay, does not necessarily guarantee that you will do well in geometry, okay? And just because you did bad on the previous algebra heavy stuff that you've been doing, that does not mean that you will do bad on this, okay? You could do well on this, all right? Okay. So it's kind of a restart in a sense, all right? So that's good for some of you, I'm assuming, okay? So that's that. Let's see. Are there any questions that I can answer before we start? Any questions that you have? Go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead and just yell it out. No questions? Everybody's good to go? Okay. Well, if everybody's good to go, let's go ahead and get started then. Let's go ahead and, hang on a second.